Hey everybody, and welcome back to the vlog. Hey guys, today we're going to be doing something a little different for our veterans and our active service members. Today we are at March Air Force Base, and this is Memorial Day. And I sort of have a story myself about the military that I'd like to share with you guys. First of all, I'd like to introduce you guys to Mike. He's my new editor. He is a war veteran, served in the United States Army. And when I told him my story about being in the Marine Corps back in 1969, and if you do the math, yep, I was only 14 years old. This story is in my book, but the author did a horrible job, and I'll explain how he did a horrible job as we go along. It was 1969. My mother and father broke up. My mother lived in the Bronx. My father lived in Queens. I always wanted to be in the Marine Corps, and I wasn't going to let the fact that I was only 14 years old stop me. Not only was I 14 years old, I was 14 years old and blind in this eye, because that year, 1969, I was shot in the eye with a BB gun, and where the BB hit, it left scars in front of the iris and the retina the size of a BB. So I only have blurred peripheral vision. I have no central vision in my right eye at all, and it had to be my right eye. So I wanted to be in the Marine Corps. I wanted to be in the Marine Corps. And I must have knew a dozen guys at that time that were being drafted, and they were going to Vietnam. And there was a whole bunch of them that didn't want to go. One in particular was a guy by the name of Eugene Gilhooly. Eugene was 19 years old, and his number was coming up, and he was about to go to Canada with all the rest of the cowards. But I probably shouldn't have said that, but that's the way I looked at it back then. I've always been a patriotic American. Let me tell you a little story too. My Uncle John, God bless his soul, was in the Air Corps in World War II over Germany, and he was shot down in his B-17 bomber. Now there is a B-17 over here, but we couldn't load. We're gonna try to get in and see it. But he was a tail gunner because he was a short guy, and he was killed. His German plane shot up, the tail came off, and down went my uncle, and he got killed. I'd like to dedicate this video to my Uncle John Maher, who gave his life for our country. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Now let's go back to me wanting to be in the Marine Corps. There are 5 recruiters in New York City, 1 for each borough. Staten Island, forget about it. So this is what I did. Eugene Gilhooly is the guy's name whose identity I assumed. That was the easy part. Anybody could do that. Even though he was taller than me and he weighed more than me back then, I would go to the recruiter in the Bronx, say, he'd give me all the paperwork. Okay, go to take your aptitude test and your physical at Fort Hamilton in Brooklyn. And I did. And so what happens at Fort Hamilton in Brooklyn? They give you your medical papers. You got your papers from the recruiter that has your medical papers in it. You take off your clothes down to your skivvies, and you get on this line. You follow the arrows, and you're gonna get your physical, which I did. Followed the arrows. First one was a heart. Doctor checked your heart, your lungs, okay, go to the next one, which would be a chest x-ray. Okay, go to the next one, which was the eye exam. And they gave you that little spoon thing, and of course, I failed. I failed. Boom. I was registered as 3Y. They could only take me under national emergency. So, but did that stop me? Nope, nope. I went to the Bronx recruiting agency. They did the same thing. I got caught again with the eye. I wasn't getting caught for the identity, for the eye, because I had his draft card, the classification card, and his driver's license, and back then they had no pictures on it. So I had all his stuff, his social security number, his mother's maiden name, Hoffman. I still remember it. So, anyway, I kept going back and forth, and all the recruiters were getting to know me. I went to the Bronx. I went to Queens on Queens Plaza. I went to the Bronx on Fordham Road. I went to Manhattan on 42nd Street. And I just kept going and going around in circles and circles for almost a year. Almost a year. And I did the physical so many times with the same doctors that didn't even recognize me. So I figured, okay, the first exam you get is a basic exam. They check out your chest. The second one was the chest x-ray. The third one was the eye exam. And the fourth one was the hearing test. Now, in the hearing test, they had like what do you call those things? Chambers. It looked like some kind of submarine. You got in there, you put a headphone on, you had two clickers. Boom, boom, boom. So, I knew I had to somehow skip the eye exam. I went and got rejected by that eye doctor and another eye doctor at least 15, 20 times. So I got to know his signature. I got to know the form and where it should say, instead of saying 2020, he was putting down 2200, legally blind. Boom, I was done. So I remember I said, I gotta cause a distraction. Now, don't forget, I'm with a bunch of guys from every, there had to be like 100 guys. I had 100 guys a day that went there. So I got myself like 6 or 7 nickels. And just as I got done with the one exam, and the next one was gonna be the eye, I took my nickels and I threw them. Everybody looked, and I scooted and I snuck in to the chamber, the hearing chamber. And I knew that doctor's signature was a big C with a cross T and a dot. Boom. And I just put 2020 and bang, I passed. And now I'm on a Greyhound bus to Parris Island, South Carolina. So now, let's get something straight. There's a big difference when a kid is 14 and when a kid is 19. There's 5 years difference. And if you look at this photograph right here of me in my dress blues, which way we're gonna put it up, I don't know how it, okay, on this side, you're gonna see that if you put your thumb over the cover up my cover and my uniform, my dress blues, you're gonna see that's just a kid. That's just, that ain't that kid, are you kidding me? And back then I was 5'6" and 126 pounds. And I'll tell you a little story about that too. So now I get in the Marine Corps. I'm a Marine recruit, and I'm in the 2nd Battalion, F Company, Platoon 236. And my service number, for all you people that don't believe me, was 266-2237. So, and that's going to come back to Eugene L. Gilhooly, Gilhooley. That's who I was, Gilhooly. I was Gilhooly in the Marine Corps. So anyway, so I'm down there, and a lot of people would look at me funny. I can remember one time when I was a road guard, and everywhere a platoon goes in Parris Island, it's a little street, it's a city, that 2 road guards, one from each side, would have to go out and stop traffic. You would stay and stop traffic. So one day I stopped traffic, and it was a captain. And the captain's looking at me. The captain takes off his sunglasses and goes, what the? And he gets out of his car. And he walks up to me and he goes, how old are you? And I said, sir, 19, sir. And he says, bullshit. Now my DI hears that. He comes running over. His name was DeFleur. What did he do? How old are you? And I said it again. I'm 19. He says, bullshit. And then he gets back in his car. And my DI goes, what happened? What was that all about? I don't know. He just got out of the car and he didn't believe I was 19. Anyway, so now I'm in my 3rd week of training, parasailing, which that's when you go to the rifle range. And back then we trained with M14 rifle, 7.62, 20 round magazine. And that rifle, like most rifles, expelled, what do you say, the shell casings. Come on, you help me.
You can say expelled. Yeah.
Expel
the shell casing.
Ejects the shell casings from the right. So when I go to the rifle range, my right eye is blind. I can't see anything. I have no central vision. So I took my rifle and I shot it left-handed. DI comes over, nope, we want you to shoot right-handed because the shell ejects on the right side and you might get a spent shell casing down your shirt, which happens. So we're going to train you, even if you're lefty, we're going to train you right-handed. And of course, I couldn't hit anything. So what do you think my DI does? Sends me to the eye doctor. The eye doctor takes one look at me, he takes one look at my eye, and he takes one look at my physical, my medical papers, and he goes, hey, how come 3 weeks ago you were 20/20 and now you're 2200? What the So anyway, to make a long story short, there was a lot of cool stories that I had in the Marine Corps, my short stay. And then, of course, I couldn't pass an aptitude test because I never even stepped foot in a high school because I only went to the 8th grade. So anyway, that's basically my story about me joining the Marine Corps at 14 and blind. And they did an article years ago, you guys can Google this, that I was the 2nd youngest man to enlist in the Marine Corps since World War II back then. Only to be beaten by this black kid who was 12 years old, and he was like 6'1". He went to the Air Force, got caught, went to the Coast Guard, got caught, went to the Army, got caught. I never got caught. I got bounced out of the Marine Corps because I was blind. So again, I like to give a tribute and thank all our veterans, all our active members. Active members.
Memorial Day specifically.
Memorial Day is their
for
day.
Those that passed.
For those that passed. And so I'd like to ask everyone to give a big prayer. How you doing? It's one of my fans. I guess he recognized me.
Probably.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But anyway, let's say a prayer for all of them, especially with everything that's going on in the world. Cherish our soldiers. Cherish the ones that gave up their lives so that we could live in a country like this. Thank you, guys. And if you guys haven't already, please like and subscribe. Our numbers are they're going up a little bit, but you know, not where I think they should be. So just hit the button, hit the like button, and if you want to know more about me or my story about me being in the Marine Corps, it's in my book, Cop Without a Badge, available on Amazon. And be sure to buy a new copy, because we all know where all those used copies have been. Yep, on the toilet. So you don't want to buy one of them. Plus, I don't make no money on it. Thank you, guys, and God bless. Mwah.